Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video, and it has been a almost week or a week since my last video. I want to say sorry for that. For me, honestly, I've just been super busy with work, getting settled in a new area in Dallas, and just, one thing led to another, and just couldn't freaking get some videos out, or at least not videos that I wanted to get out right. Like I've wanted to do a couple new deck techs, a couple new heroes, and like talk about Blitz and stuff like that. And I didn't want to like half-ass my videos and just like put out a random video to put out a random video. So I decided to just, focus on work while also like prepping some videos and prepping some stuff. So today's video, we're going to go over a Axis Dorinthea Blitz deck tech. It's a deck that I've been playing for a little bit now, since skirmish started. I obviously am maining Viscerai for the Battle Hardened event, but I've been playing around with Dorinthea just because she's a really fun deck. And one that I definitely think is like, I'd say a low A tier deck right now. In my opinion, I think it's actually a little bit undervalued if you're playing it correctly. And it's just a really good deck, especially into some of the different meta heroes right now. So yeah, we're going to get right into the deck tech. I do not attest to be this insane Dorinthea expert. So if there's any warrior mains out there, please give me your thoughts on the deck. I'm going to go over my deck. I'm going to go over some cards I think that aren't in the deck that could be in the deck, or why they're not in the deck, and just give my overall thoughts. And I'll be having 2 gameplays go up over the next 2 days as well. Kind of show y'all how I've been playing the deck. Probably see some missed triggers in there. Who knows? So I haven't actually watched them back over yet. I'm going to watch them back over today and record them. So hopefully those ended up going well when I watched them the second time. But yeah, so this is the deck. It's Axis Dorinthea. Basically, it's, Dorinthea is normally a Dawnblade build or a Sabres build. Dawnblade, I think, can be the most oppressive, but the most consistent, in my opinion, is probably Hatches, or Axis Dorinthea, some people call it. So I'm really liking the Hatchet style in this meta because you can block with 2 cards from hand and still have a full turn, and using Valiant Dynamo to its fullest potential, right, is really important. But yeah, the basic play pattern of this deck is block to 2 cards from hand, maybe 1 if you can swing it, if you have a good defense reaction like Steelblade Shunt or something, and then come in with a 2-card hand, 3-card hand where you're dealing 8 to 10 damage, hopefully 6 at worst, but you're doing it over a course of 2 attacks. And so you're consistently putting out like decent damage every turn, while also blocking very efficiently. Sometimes, most turns you're blocking for 6 to 9 while also dealing, 6 to 10 damage. So it's a good trade-off, right? And then at its height, this deck can just go wide with swing for 3 hatchets worth of turns and stuff like that. The main issue with this deck is it's hard to keep it on the combat chain. You have to break the chain a decent amount, or you have to be wary of when you're breaking the chain. And the reason that's a bad thing is if you're playing an Oldheim, or you're even playing a Viscerai, heck, and they want to use their equipment multiple times in a turn, they're able to do so. So, people can efficiently block you because you're breaking the chain pretty consistently. So getting right into it, the 2 hatches, basically the way the hatches work is if the other hatchet has attacked this turn, that hatchet gets +1. So like if you attack with hatchet buy, this is with no buffs. Attach with hatchet buy for 2, it gets go again. Then you attach hatchet to mine, it will attack for 3. Then if you attack with hatchet buy again, it'll get 3 because it'll get +1 because hatchet mine is attacked. And then if somehow some crazy way you did 4 hatchets, hatchet mine's base would be 4. So they get +1 every time the other one is swung that turn. So you're just basically throwing hatchets at people, like quite literally. For the equipment, I'll go over the equipment and kind of, this wouldn't be everything I would have. I would like take some of this stuff out, but I just want to talk about all of it. My basic equipment suite would be Arcanite Skullcap, Valiant Dynamo, Findle Spring Tunic, and Braceforce Bracers. I don't own Braceforce Bracers. You'll see it in the video. I do own Valiant Dynamo, which I think you kind of have to have in this deck. Not have to, but like it severely helps the ceiling of the deck. If you have Braceforce Bracers, get them or use them because it's a block 3. That's the main purpose for the card, is to block 3. Using the 1 resource once per turn action, your next weapon attacks this turn gains +1, activates this ability only if a weapon you control has hit this turn. A lot of times your first axe is going to hit a decent amount, especially if you didn't put anything in front of it. Like, because they know most of the time if you're swinging with hatchet to body for 2 or hatchet to mine for 2, then you'll probably have a Blade Runner in hand, so they're not going to want to block you out because they know something bigger is coming. So Braids for Bracers could be used a lot. The problem is like it takes up a resource, and when you're trying to work with 2-card hands, taking up a resource really hurts a lot. But it's still a very good card, 100% the best arm piece you should have. But if you don't have it, run Ironhide Gauntlet. I really like this. Just it's simple, it's easy, but off a Tunic resource you can block for 2. Right, so it gives you that 2 block. Brace for Bracers normally give you a 3 block, so you still have a decent block there. So that's a good substitute. Arcanite Skullcap, I mean, the best substitute's probably Ironhide Gauntlet as well, or Ironhide Helm as well. If you have that. Another headpiece you could run, obviously besides Null Rune, is Helm of the Sharp Eye. Helm of Sharp Eye. I don't like Helm of Sharp Eye, honestly, because you manage top card of your deck, you may play this combat chain, activate this ability only if you control a weapon with base greater than twice its base. So you basically have to pump your first hatchet for the most part, or pump your second hatchet and then use this. But again, it costs a resource and it really sucks. That one extra resource really is needed a lot in this deck. This deck isn't super resource hungry, but it needs a blue in order to swing with both hatchets and a pump, or both hatchets and give something go again. So you effectively are using your blue every time. So this kind of card's only good if you have like a 3-card hand or a 4-card hand, and you can really utilize it to its full extent. But it's something you can put in there if you have it over Organite Skullcap. For the chest piece, Fennel Springtone is the one you want because it's going to give you that one resource over the course of the game. In the sideboard, I do have Courage Bladehold. I know you can't use its ability with hatchets, and that's fine. I just use it for 3 block, to be quite honest with you. If I'm playing someone like that, I know it's going to be super aggro. I might put Courage Bladehold in there just because it gives you 3 block. The game's probably not going to go longer than 3 turns anyway, or close to it, unless I can stall them out a little bit. So having that extra block in there is really good. Another chess piece you could have, which is a common one, is Gallantry Gold. It's an action, pay 1, destroy Gallantry Gold. Your weapon attacks, gain +1 this turn. Not as impactful with hatchets, but it's definitely really good. If you don't have the Tunic, and not everybody has Tunic, but sorry, y'all, just had a quick message and I don't want to restart the video off one text. So yeah, it's really good for that. But overall, this is the main equipment set you want. Going into and then obviously I'd have the full Null Rune suite. Honestly, in my sideboard, I'm not 100% sure what I want in sideboard other than Null Rune and Gauntlet, or Null Rune and Courage of Bladehold, but these are other options you can do. I just want to put them in there to show you. For the deck itself, I have 14 blues. I haven't had an issue with needing to have more. It's similar to like my Ira build where I want to have 1 blue per hand. So in order to do that, 14 is usually the magic number for me. I've had as high as 16 in this deck and as low as 13. 16 was a little bit too high in my opinion. I wasn't quite getting the pumps that I wanted. So I'd say 14 to 15 is a sweet spot. Looking at, right, I think I can, no, I can't do it in this one, but it's fine. So first 2 cards, Spill Blood, really good. Gives your axes +2 and Dominate. If you can do this on a 3-card hand with like a Blade Runner, it's super good because your first axe is going to hit for 4 Dominate. And then your second axe off the Blade Runner is going to hit for 6 because a +3 from Blade Runner if it's a red Blade Runner. 6, and then +2, so 8 Dominate, right? So you're dealing 12 damage over the course of the turn with Dominate. Really good. If you also kind of just pair this with like, I don't know, at the end of the game, it's really good if you pair it with like an Outland Skirmish. If you have a 3-card hand, you Outland Skirmish, then you Spill Blood. It's at 5, +5, and then you swing with your hatchet for 7 Dominate. If they're at like 2 or 3 life, it's just really good for that. I've used it to close out games pretty well. Another card for closing out games is Rout. Target weapon attack gains +3. If they have defend with a card from hand, it's basically returned. So this is really good. Like if they know you're probably, it's good on the first axe because if they have like 2 life, some people will overblock, but some people are like, screw it. If you got it, you got it. I'm just going to block exact so I can actually block the whole turn. So it's really good if they try to block Exactsies on the first axe and you can just route it back to their hand and then finish the game. I have 2 in the swings in here. It's just a really good pump 3 on your second axe at 0 cost. I love having this in a 3-card hand with Blade Runner. You pitch a blue, axe, Blade Runner, axe in the swing. Just really good to end the turn. Out for Blood, this is the one that's up for debate. I'm definitely keeping the blue At blue, it's +1, +2 if they defend with a card from hand. This chain link. The red is +3 and then an additional +1, so it's +4 for one resource. The red's just really good at the end of game. If they've seen one during the game, they know you have it. It forces the opponent to overblock, and it's really good. Over here, the core of the deck, honestly, is the 6 Blade Runners and the 6 Hit and Runs. You want to run I run the full set of each. I think it's like a non-negotiable. You got to, because those are going to be your most consistent go-again cards. Hit and Run is best played on the second axe just because it gives that buff, but overall it gives your axe go again, which is mainly what you want anyway, right? But if you can partner this with a Blade Runner, or not even with a Blade Runner, but with something else, like, it's really good. If you have like the magic 4-card, 5-card hand with a Hit and Run, a Blade Runner, you're going to be swinging your axe 3 times. It's really nice. So these are like the core of your deck as far as giving stuff go again. Outland Skirmisher Run, it's just a good pump 3, right? On a one-handed weapon. It's really good when you partner it with Spill Blood, or you partner it even with a Spoils of War. So +5 go again off of one resource is really good. And you'll create 5 copper that next, or 3 copper that next attack. So it's really good when coupled with that. Warrior's Valor, I'm keeping in here. I like it definitely at red. Blue, you could sub it out for a different blue, but I just like the fact that obviously they're probably going to block out if you attack if you do a blue into an axe, because it's only 3 on hit go again, but it's at least forcing them to block with a card from hand. And almost every card I have in here, I want to force someone to block with a card from hand. So even though Warrior's Valor isn't as good as a Blade Runner or a Hit and Run or a Spoils of War, it's still very good at potentially giving go again. And I want a lot of cards in my deck to either give go again or potentially give go again. So it's really good for that. Sink Below, amazing for this deck, right? Like, if you don't have a blue in your hand, it's similar to like a Ninja, like an Ira build. If you sink, you can cycle a red out and possibly go get a blue. So it's just, it's something that is really good for cycling hands and just, continuously that pace. I have 1 Singeing Steelblade in the deck. I had 2, but I went down to 1, but I do like the 1 still. And the reason is because you can go get a Blade Runner. If they defend with a card from hand trying to stop you from getting go again, or maybe it's late in the game, you play a Singeing Steelblade and you get the +1. The +1 is honestly irrelevant. It's more of just, you can go search your deck. If the defending hero is defending with a card from their hand, this chain link, search your deck for an attack reaction card, banish it face up, and then shuffle your deck. You may play it this chain link. So if you don't have a Blade Runner, you can basically go get a Blade Runner, and it's really nice. Or even, if you want to try to finish the game, right, go get a red out for blood maybe, or however the game is going at that point. Really good for that. So I have 1 in there just because I want to be able to go search if I can. Spoils of War, one of the best cards in the deck, +2 go again on your next attack. Really good for that first axe to do, a 4 attack axe on hit, make 2 copper. Copper doesn't matter in our deck, but no one knows that. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Glint, I like Glint. It just, obviously they're not always going to block with a card from hand, so you might not draw a card, but it's giving something go again. And at the end of the day, that's what you want to do in this deck, is give things go again, give that first axe go again as much as humanly possible. Because I tell you what, it feels super bad when you can't give it go again. So you need to be able to do that as much as you can. Running 2 Steelblade Shunts, just amazing value, a 1 for 6. So you can use this off a Tunic resource. Don't even commit a card from hand and block for 6. And if you couple this with a Valiant Dynamo, then it's really good for that. So it can block for 7 with Valiant Dynamo, or even if you're behind in the game, right, you can block with this and Skullcap for 8. And it's just really nice. And you didn't even hardly commit a card from hand in order to pitch it. And then rounding off the blues, I have Push Forward and Overpowered, just both really good blues. Honestly, it's mainly for the 3 block and pitch, but they do have some use cases if they need to be used. So that's the deck. It's worked really well for me so far. Going over a couple cards really quick that are not in the deck, but I could either be in the deck or not in the deck, and there's a reason for it. One is Driving Blade. Driving Blade's pretty good. It came out in Welcome to Wraith, obviously one of the original Warrior cards. Your next weapon attack this turn gains +3 and go again. Really good card, but it costs 2. And that's the reason why it's not in the deck, right? Spoils War is just better. +2 go again for 1 cost. Hit and Run's a 0 cost. It doesn't buff it as much, but there's cards in the deck that do what this does, maybe a little bit less, but they don't cost 2. So it's just, that's the reason it's not in the deck. The card that could be in the deck, that might be decent, maybe to have one of or two of, is Iron Song Determination. Target weapon gets +1 and dominate until end of turn. I think this would be really good off of a second axe. Right, if you like, let's say you played axe into a Blade Runner. Let's say it's a yellow Blade Runner, just for the heck of it. So that Blade Runner is going to give it +2. The axe is going to get +1. So now you're hitting for 5. You can play this before that second axe. Now it's 6 dominate, so it's a good way to close out games. It's not a great card, but if you have this card, it's definitely something you can think about using. But again, I like Spill's Blood better anyway. So this is just like a 0 cost spill, like slightly worse Spill's Blood. But it's just a good way of doing it. Another one that actually would be really fun to use, and I think if you use it correctly, be really good, is Minerva, the tutor, or the mentor. Is at the start of your turn, if she's face down in your arsenal, you may put her face up. One-hand weapons you control have +1. Whenever a weapon you control hits, put a lesson counter on Minerva, and then if there are 3 or more lesson counters on her, banish her, search your deck for a specialization card, put it face up in your arsenal, and shuffle your deck. So it's nice because it makes your first axe hit for 3 now, and your second axe is going to hit for technically 4. So if you just have a Blade Runner or hit and run hand, you're going to be doing really well. But it does have to hit is the problem to give it something. So it's a little bit difficult, but it's a fun card to play with. It blocks for 3 if you absolutely have to use it to block. And it'll allow you to search for that specialization card, Singeing Steel Blade. So really good for that. Red push forward's good. Your next weapon attack this turn gains +3. If you've attacked with a weapon this turn, your next attack gains dominate. So it's really good on the first axe because the first axe went for 5, but it's really good on the second axe because it's guaranteed 6 dominate. So if you do a hit and run into an axe, into a push forward, now your push forward is going to cause the second axe to go 6 dominate. Or even better, if you axe Blade Runner into a push forward, and maybe you had a 4-card hand, so you have to use a blue or use a tunic resource. All of a sudden, your next axe is hitting for 9 dominate. Just really good at red for Blade Runner. I keep using the red Blade Runner as an example, but that's the best case scenario. Another card you can put in is Refraction Bolter. It's just really good, but Valiant Dynamo is just too good in this deck, too valuable to not have. But if you don't have Valiant Dynamo, definitely Refraction Bolter is just something you could use. Second swing, I've thought about putting this in the deck, to be honest. If you have attacked with weapon this turn, your next attack gains +4. It's just awesome because if you hit and run into axe into this, then your second axe is going to hit for 7. It's just really good at the end of the game to really put a lot of pressure on the opponent. Or if you have a tunic resource, right, you axe Blade Runner into this, and all of a sudden your second axe is going to hit for +7, +6, or +5. On top of its 3 base, so the minimum it's going to hit for 8. Maximum it'll hit for 10. So it's just really good for that. It's a really good card. It's just I don't know what I'd sub out for right now, so I'm just keeping it as is. And the final card, Steelblade Supremacy, the one everybody wants to think about. I don't like it with this deck because until your end of turn, target weapon gains +2, and whenever it hits, draw a card. You're not really caring about coming back to your axe as much, and this would take a ton of setup in order to utilize it the best way possible. Because what you'd want to do is utilize this on a 3-axe turn. So the only way this card's going to reach its full potential is if you have a 4 or 5 card hand with it, and you have a Blade Runner, and you have a way of giving the second axe go again, right? So it's just not as useful. If you were running like a Refraction Bolters build, maybe this would be more useful because then you'd only need 1 go again, and you could give the second card or give another axe go again with Refraction Bolters. So just something to think about. But I personally don't run it. It's a little bit too clunky. It just doesn't do as much for me. The only thing you could do is put this on the second axe. So the second axe would be hitting for 5. Draw a card. But the thing is, if you draw into attack action, it's not going to matter anyway, like a Blade Runner, because it's already resolved. So you can't use that attack reaction. Since you have a lot of attack reactions in this deck, drawing that card isn't as useful. But that's just me. But that's the basis of the deck. Let me know what y'all think. I also don't have E-Strike in here, and I don't have Cash-In here. E-Strike, I just don't want to cycle cards. I want to keep the cards I have for the most part, so I just don't think it's as useful. Cash-In is a very good card, but it's stupid clunky when it gets stuck in your hand. And the only cards, I don't have a ton of cards in here to give Copper. I have Outland Skirmish. I have Spoils War, and that's pretty much it. So I don't want to try to force that. And in this game, in this Blitz meta, if you have 1 off turn, you're dead. So it's just how the game is right now. So I don't want any cards that are going to possibly give me an off turn. But this is the deck. Feel really good about it, honestly. Enjoying it a lot. It's a very fun deck. One of the most fun decks in Flesh and Blood to play, in my opinion, just hands down. One of the most interactive decks where you got to think and go through different lines and do different stuff. It's just really fun. But hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. I'll be putting up some more gameplays here in the next day or two for y'all. Not perfect gameplays by any means, but just some decent ones. I'll talk about them as I get better with the deck and hopefully keep improving. But yeah, if y'all like this, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If not me, go to our Flesh and Blood creator, do the same thing for them so we can get more people seeing this game. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.